Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Keys to Your Best Life. I am your host, Maggie Cavanaugh, and I have got my dear sister in Christ, colleague, minister partner. I mean, you just name it. I've got Samantha DeGraze with me, and she is so precious, and I love her so much. And we have a huge announcement. It's big. It's big. Many of you may or may not know her, but she is the founder of Build Her a Bridge Ministries. And her and I met through ACT International. It's our 501c3 covering. And we connected because we both have a heart for young people, teens, families to be restored, people to just be real and to talk about things that a lot of people don't want to talk about. And, her motto is, being real, raw, and relatable. And mine is being hot, being open, honest, open, and transparent. So we're like two sisters from another mister. I'm just saying. We're just cut from the same cloth when it comes to what is important for our youth today. Maybe you have a tween, maybe you have a teen, maybe you have a kid in college. It doesn't matter. We all need to be aware. And the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And this is just a perfect time for us to announce that we'll be doing a dual broadcast monthly. It will be called Bridge Forward. And you're probably wondering, what does Bridge Forward mean? Well, Build Her a Bridge is Samantha's ministry, and our ministry is Moving Forward Ministry. And our coaching for our teens is Forward. So Bridge Forward is perfect. And so the Lord has been speaking to us about various important topics. So obviously today, this is a broadcast for Keys to Your Best Life, but starting next month, on the first Friday of every month, with supplemental things coming down the pike, including and not limited to interviews with teens that are going to talk to you about what is their perspective on bullying. I mean, they're out on the front lines here, for the most part. Not saying that an adult can't be bullied, they can. But we're going to get some insight. We're going to get some really good information from them. So make sure that you watch for this upcoming information on this, the dates, times, locations. Make sure that you get it out to the hands, because we want to help parents and leadership in churches with youth groups. And the list goes on and on of all the people that we want to help through the eyes of the teens. What are they saying? What does God's word say? What is the mental health organization saying? And together we are going to bridge forward. So I'm so excited.
Yes.
This is so exciting.
I am so excited. I am so excited. Even my daughter yesterday was looking at the logo and she said, I want to be a part of that. So I'm thinking, if she's saying that, how many more of her other friends and other youth that I've encountered would want to be a part of this, because they want their story to be heard. They want to be able to tell it, because like you just said, they're on the front lines of everything. See, we can talk about our experiences in our childhood and teen years, and sometimes even adults are bullied, but I want to hear from them, because they are on the front lines of everything.
Yes. And they have a completely different perspective.
They do.
And things have changed so much since I was a child or when you were a child. I mean, we know the root cause of bullying, is to be a person that deliberately tries to make someone else feel upset or scared or ashamed, and they bully others with, behavior, culture, race, class, identity, everything. We know that's out there in a staple, but it has changed a lot. So that is our topic today, is bullying.
Bullying, yes.
It's real. And so, Samantha, I know you've got some amazing stats, and I know you've got some great notes on this. So whenever the audience is listening and they're going, well, how do you define bullying? What is it? I mean, tell us a little bit about what you've got there with your research.
Geez, there's so much towards it. But I want to say that why I was doing a lot of research, and one of the things that was the question out there was, why do people bully? And there's not one definite answer of why people do bully, but from sort of like antonyms and everything of things that stood out for why people bully is they feel empowered. They feel like they're controlling and dominating and aggressive and cruel. And a lot of times we have to look at, well, what's the reason why people are bullying? Why is there so much anger in you? Why are you doing that? What's really going on? And I think we really have to look at that as, why is it that you are externalizing everything? Why is it that you are acting out in such a manner to put other people down? There must be something going on inside. And that looks like maybe it's something going on from their childhood, from their past that they haven't been able to address, something going on currently that they don't know how to necessarily express. It could be that there are parents or grandparents or people that they're around are bullied or bullying, that they see that and they're like, well, they're only acting out based off of what they see.
Right.
So there's just, it's changed a lot from when we were growing up to now, because there's also that cyberbullying issue, but it's alarming with the stats, I think. So I was doing some research here, and it says, according to stopbullying.gov in 2017, about 20% of students ages 12 to 18 experience bullying. And when I look at that, I'm like, 20%. Okay, but then you're thinking 20%, those are numbers. Those are kids. Those are teenagers. And 19%.
That's just the ones, though, that are reported.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Reported. And all of the things that I'm saying, that's what it says, reported. So imagine all the ones that are not. I know those numbers are higher than that. I know they are. 19% of students grades 9 through 12th grade have been bullied on school property. 30% of young people admitted to bullying others. And again, that's just what's reported.
Wow. You know, you said something really important as far as the different reasons of why people bullying, the controlling and so forth. I just submitted an article that I was challenged to write, and I do mean challenged to write for Lifeline Christian Mental Health magazine. It'll come out in June, I believe. But I stated in there that many times when children come from a domestic violence home, this is a learned behavior. So they're going into the school with the attitude of, mom shoves dad around or dad shoves mom around, and they're projecting that onto other people because they think this is normal behavior.
That's right.
And so there are so many root causes of that. So, wow. But I agree with you. I mean, 1% is too much and 20% is a lot. But we know that there's a whole lot of kids out there that don't report it because they don't want to be a snitch.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I was thinking about this because I've been praying about it with this topic, because this along with like self-esteem and confidence and mental health, because we're in the month of May now, I wrote this down. I said, empowered, dominating, controlling, mean, aggressive, cruel. Those are words that identify the bullier. But when I hear those words, I hear leadership, motivator, have a following, confident, focused, communicative, transparent. So if we change the way that we look at them, if we change the way that we can see their potential, I think that we're going to be able to approach them better, because who wants to approach a bully? I think there's only 3 things you can do: run, react, or respond. But if we change the way that we look at them, and instead of coming back at them in another aggressive manner, or bully them back, because that's what we automatically want to do. Some of us, a lot of us, we're just internal, we'll internalize everything and not say anything. But those that we're like, oh, you have a comeback, I just think we need to be careful with that. They have so much potential and we don't realize what's really going on. So when we get to the root cause of what's going on, they're going to be able to change their behavior. Because again, to me, a bullier is a learned behavior.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you said a key word there, the root cause, because, you know, most bullies probably don't even want to be that way, but they don't know any other way, and they need to break out of that. And so they have to have the right sources. They have to have the right tools, and they have to have the right people extracting the goodness out of what it is. And I'll see children all the time, and a lot of kids that I've dealt with that have, you know, their parents are like, I don't know what to do with them. They're out of control. They have a great leadership potential. And you hit on that as well. But it's being just portrayed the wrong way.
Right. And we need to be careful about who's going to pour into them and to feed into them and bring that out of them. Because again, if it's a learned behavior and they're seeing the bullying going on in their home, well, then their home environment is not a good environment. So they're going to keep doing that. But once we really try to fix that, and that's offering counseling to the bullier to say, you know what, let's talk about this, because I see so much potential in you. I know that this is not you. what's really going on. And that's when, like an onion, you start peeling back the layers and layers, and you get to the root cause of it. And it could be anything. And that's the thing, you need to be ready for it, because it could be anything from sexual abuse, child abuse, to seeing my daddy punch my mommy punching it could be anything.
Yeah.
But the point is getting to that root, because, and I don't know if you notice this, but a lot of times when there are people that bully, a lot of times it's things that are exterior, things that like the exterior looks like, your ears, your hair, your skin color, things like that. But they don't really make fun of you for saying, that's why you made an A, or that's why you have good character, or something like that, because those are the internal things. And because people that bully, we see the exterior, that's why a lot of times we are judged by our exterior.
Right. And I love the fact that the Lord tells us that man looks on the outside, but God looks at the heart. Absolutely. And that's what we have to do when it comes to these kids that are hurting, because they are hurting. And that's why they're hurting other people, is because we have to be fully aware that there's a heart condition. You know, the Bible talks about out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so that is so powerful. And I think sometimes when we think about bullying, we think about the kid, physically, but, we're talking, like you mentioned, cyberbullying, psychological bullying, verbal abuse, and bullying, physical and, intimidating. There's so many forms. Let's talk a little bit about some of those forms and how they're taking shape on our culture now.
Absolutely. So the percentage, most common type of bullying is online bullying, harassment, mean comments. That's 22.5% of young people.
Wow.
35% had sent a screenshot of someone's status or photo to laugh at them. 61% of teens who report, just like we said before, who report being bullied, say it was because of their appearance. That is more than half, 61%. 56% report online harassment from Facebook alone. 7 in 10 young people experience bullying before they hit the age of 18. 7 in 10 young people.
Wow. I believe that.
I cannot believe that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy to know that there are so many kids out there. And even, that goes in when you've got a low self-image from being beat down. We know the rates of suicide are astronomical. And many times these children are bullied. Yeah. We also see school violence where kids have come in and it is built to a point where they are just so influenced by their pain and so forth that they act out in physical attacks and so forth. There's so many aspects of this, and it all comes down to making sure that people's mental health is stable.
Absolutely. It all bottoms out to the heart issue and to the mind. Absolutely. And if you're not in your right state of mind, when you are dealing with anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts and PTSD, and when you're a victim of child abuse and sexual abuse, so you're not. And so sometimes the only way that you can have attention, or the only way that you, and that's a whole other issue, attention, but the only way that you can honestly get out, because they feel like they're caved in and they're feeling like just so closed in, the only way that they can act out is just to be an aggressor and to bully.
Yes. So we've talked a little bit about the symptoms and the root causes of the person doing the bullying. Let's talk about those that are receiving it on the other end as well, because I think that probably if you are watching this broadcast and you yourself are being bullied, and or your child is being bullied, you need to know some warning signs. Because I know, Samantha, we talked about 20% being reported, but I know for a fact that I've talked to multiple teens over the years and multiple adults even that do not report their abuse, whether it be physical, sexual, emotional. They don't, because for various reasons. A lot of times it's shame-based. They feel like they deserve it. Like you mentioned, the low self-image. A lot of times they have been bullied to the point where if you tell somebody that I just did this to you, I'm going to hurt someone you love. I mean, there's a lot of manipulation tactics that come out of that. So what would you say to those that may be watching that has a child that's being bullied?
I would say you first have a conversation with your child. Like I know we're pretty much almost off for summer and going back into school in the fall, but have a good relationship with your child where your child also feels comfortable sharing back with you. Listen for your child. listen for key words and cues that they're telling you, because a lot of times they're not going to come right out and say, Mom so-and-so beat me up on the bus. Mom so-and-so pushed me against the locker. But if you listen for subtle cues and hints, they'll give it to you. When you have a relationship with your child, be careful that you're not the one to dominate and talk so much, but listen to what they're saying. And also let them know that they need to stand up for what, and that standing up doesn't mean that you're also acting out, but standing up means that you're saying, I'm not going to tolerate this. I deserve better than this. I love myself. I love my face. I love my body, and I will not allow you to disrespect it in any way. And you need to go see a teacher or guidance counselor. I'm an educator myself, and that's what we're here for. A lot of times it's about the relationship that parents have with their child, because they don't have such a good relationship. And so the one that's being bullied or the one that's a victim of abuse, they're wanting to keep it in. And I tell you, just like I tell a lot of the other young people that I work with, do not hold it in. That's what these counselors are here for. That's what an adult is here for, that loves you and that is pouring into you. You don't have to go through this alone. There's no reason for you to go through it alone. You definitely don't deserve it. So you have to reach out, because it's not fair. And also, you're protecting other people too. Yes. Because if you keep it to yourself, then just imagine all the other people that are going through something similar or the exact same thing that you're going through. So you, by speaking up, can stop this aggressor from doing it to other people.
Absolutely. Wow, that's valuable information right there. Y'all need to pause this. If you're watching this on the replay, I know if you're watching it live, you can't do that. But if you're watching it on the replay, pause that and listen to that again, because that right there is keys that unlock the communication. And it does come down to communication. And we live in a world where parents don't intentionally not build that relationship or rapport with their kids, but they're under so much pressure, and it's like, go, 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 go. I find being in the car is a great place to talk. Have you found that with your daughter?
Absolutely. Oh man, that's when I think my kids are most, when they're wanting to talk, or sometimes at night when they're kind of ready to go to bed, and you kind of, or you're sitting on a sofa or something, and they come and sit and talk, like, just don't even say anything. They just come and just sit next to you. Parents, grandparents, adults, you have to be receptive, because that to me is a sign that one of my kids wants to talk. And whatever I'm doing, phone, remote control, drinking coffee, whatever, it takes second place, because that's when I need to be tuned in to what my child is saying, and not just listening, because I'm doing a seminar about this, about listening and hearing. Those are two different things. Yeah. So you can listen, but are you really hearing?
Yes, that's right.
So you really have to. So yes, your children will give you subtle clues and hints. And even if they kind of joke around about it, be careful about that, because a lot of times that could be them turning it around and making it not serious by making it jokey, and it's not. Because that is also probably a subtle sign and clue that your child is experiencing something. So please take it seriously.
Yes, that's so important. It's so important. You know, you mentioned that they need to get it out. And, you know, from a standpoint of years of dealing with people with trauma and different issues, is that things buried alive do not die. They stay there and they stay dormant. In my own experiential knowledge from, you know, different types of abuse, I know I even had a statement that I made when I was young. And basically I was just like making a inner vow to myself, which is very dangerous when we make those inner vows of no one is going to hurt me again. And I'm just going to put that on ignore. And I'm just going to pretend like that didn't happen. And what happens is it just goes like this. It just goes up and up and up. And then it comes out in an unhealthy way, unexpected. And when you see an explosive thing, and, you know, I was well in my 30s before I started, like all of this crap was coming out. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? And I had stuffed so much pain and so much stuff. So for those of you watching this, don't allow it to get into your 30s. Listen, it is healthy to communicate how you're feeling in a safe environment. You know, get with an educator, get with a counselor, get with a coach, get with your youth pastor, get with your whoever it is that you trust to get some outside resources, because everyone, no matter who you are, has had some sort of pain in your life. And it's part of the process. Jesus said that in this world, we will have tribulation. So you're going to have it. It's going to happen. Right. but it's how you deal with it.
And I want to use this visual because it's a visual that we can all relate to. And I use it sometimes with analogies and everything. But think about a scab that you have on your arm. And when you try to pick that scab off, because it's still in your skin and because it still hurts and it's red around, that means it's still attached to you. So it's going to hurt. But you know how we have those calluses on our hands and dead skin doesn't hurt anymore because it's no longer attached.
Yes.
So you're able to peel that bad boy off and it doesn't hurt. But if you have a scab on your arm and it's still there and it's red, you can't peel it off because it's going to hurt. There's no reason why you going through all this. And to me, sin is sin, regardless of what it is. Right. To me, bullying is the same thing. And I take it just as seriously, cyberbullying, as I do sexual abuse and child abuse and anxiety and depression. I take it all seriously because it affects the psyche and it affects the mind. But be careful because just like you said, it is still attached to you. And so what are you going to do? And you have a choice of whether or not this is going to still stay attached to you or whether or not it's going to be dead skin. So that is my analogy. I use it all the time, but it's a good visual. It's a good visual reminder of what is attached and what is not attached to you, what you need to let go of and what you need to keep. And that's one thing that you don't need to constantly hold on to are things that should be dead issues that you should bury. You should address it and you should bury it.
Yes, put it in its proper place and then move on. You know, and you'll know when it's a scab because if you get bumped into it by your boo-boo and that scab walks out, you're going to bleed all over the place. Right. And there's a saying that if you, let me think what the saying is, but if you do not deal with your boo-boos, basically, you know, your scars, your wounds, that you will bleed on people who did not cut you.
That's right.
And so that hurting person will hurt someone else and hold someone else accountable. You know, maybe you were bullied as a child and now you're in a leadership role. Matter of fact, I just watched a movie with my granddaughter the other night and I kind of questioned whether or not I should have watched it. There's a couple of questionable things in there. I was going, you know, it was supposed to be okay. And it was called Little. I don't know if you've seen it, but the woman was a corporate CEO of a company and she was driven and she was hard and she was cruel. And, but she had been bullied as a kid for being smart. And so what happened was that she ended up, it's kind of like one of those switch things where she had to go back to being a kid and deal with that. And she was helping other kids that were being bullied. And she was helping them take a stand. Now, the message of that was powerful. Right. There was a few questionable scenes. So I encourage you, if you do watch that movie, explain those scenes to your teen or tween, or it was my granddaughter's a tween. And afterwards, I was like, that was inappropriate, you know, or you pause, you know. But the reality is that it's true. You'll carry it into adulthood unless you deal with it now. It's very powerful to deal with your pain because then you can turn around. And I love what you said about exposing it. Anything we expose to the light, you know, the enemy flees, you know. And when we expose it, it keeps someone else from being hurt. And when you deal with your stuff now, it keeps you from being hurt in your adult years. Yeah.
I know it's not, I was bullied. I mean, I think we all were to a certain extent, and it doesn't make you feel good. And a lot of times it has you evaluate and reevaluate yourself. Like, so what is wrong with me? So is there something wrong with me? So my skin is too dark. My skin is too light. My ears are too big. My lips are too big. And then you start questioning yourself, and that's where it starts spiraling. Now, in doing research, there's no evidence of those that are suicidal have experienced, I guess there's a certain word that I want to use, or it's like have experienced bullying, or they weren't suicidal because of bullying, but it all is the same thing. It all narrows down to the same thing. It doesn't make you feel good. That's the first thing. It makes you question yourself.
Right.
That's the second thing. And then the third thing is that that's when you start really your self-esteem and your depression and your anxiety. So while they're factors of it, and it is all interconnected.
Sure.
So we just have to be careful about that. But for that person that is being bullied, please speak out. Don't hold it in. And for the person that's the bullier, I just want to tell you, there's no reason for you to want to make other people feel bad about themselves or feel bad about what they're doing, because we're not perfect. You should not point out someone else's flaws because guess what? We all got them. We're not perfect. We all have things that we're working on to improve, but pointing that out, especially in a public manner, is just cruel. It honestly is just cruel. And honestly, it was that child that was always the bullier that wound up not having a lot of friends because no one wanted to associate themselves with the person that was being bullied. So therefore, you're acting out, you're aggressive, you're cruel, you're mean, then you're sitting at the lunch table by yourself. Well, it would be hard for me as a parent to say, well, I want you to go talk to that person that put you down. Yeah, I mean, that's the reality of it. What do you say to your child? I would say that, yeah, that person is not being mean, but that doesn't mean that you still shouldn't try to be nice and be a friend. And you be the light in their dark world, because it all will start with you.
That's exactly right. We have got to look at people through the lenses of Christ and recognize that there are, underlining causes of why they're acting out and doing that. Imagine if the Lord only dealt with us and, forgave those that were good enough. Mm-hmm. There's no good thing here, Mm-hmm. The Bible says there's not good, no, not one.
That's right.
And that's so right. Just because their sin looks different than somebody else's sin doesn't mean that they don't deserve forgiveness. Now, forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation, right. Obviously, you can forgive your bully, but that doesn't mean you need to go, be a light to them by all means, right. But don't put yourself in a difficult situation. But
you're once again vulnerable and falling victim to it. Yes.
Yes. I believe that love covers a multitude of sins. That's what the word tells us. And so when we can walk in love and integrity, besides the fact that there are someone else, and I think even in the process of forgiving those that have hurt us, it goes back to taking it a step further. Okay, I choose to forgive them, but having empathy. What caused them? Mm-hmm. Lord, what caused them to act like that? Are they being abused? Right. Is there something going on that is not unseen? So it's so important how we not only as adults treat other adults because bullying takes place in the workplace and all different forms and fashions for adults. Yeah. It's not as prevalent as it is during those tween and teen years, but it is evident. But for our kids to learn that boundaries, and you hit on it. You hit on it really hard, and it was so good. And that's why I was telling people to pause it and go back. It has got to have enough self-worth. God created me, and I love myself enough to not let you hurt me. Right. And I'm going to set a strong boundary to stop that type of behavior, because if you allow unacceptable behavior in your life at a young age, it can trickle over into when you start dating and things like that. And you can find yourself in unhealthy relationships because your self-image is so low.
And that's where you talk about with that bleeding on other people. Yeah. You're taking it out and you're lashing out on other people that have nothing to do with your underlying issue because you chose not to address it when you had ample opportunity to. And that's why having that communication with guidance counselors, coaches, and everything, that's why that plays a part. And I think growing up too, and that could be something that people are bullied over, it's you're going to see a therapist, you're going to see a counselor, you belong in a loony bin. I'd rather belong in a loony bin and know that my mental psyche is okay, and knowing that I can relate to other people and I can have a job and I can hold myself down and I can, run a household and I can be a loving wife and a loving mother. Then I guess that makes me crazy and loony if I'm going to see a counselor for check-in. I don't think there's anything wrong with going to see a counselor for check-in.
Oh my gosh, I think it should be a requirement for life. I mean, if you've got a pulse, you need to do it.
Yes.
Counseling is not like, people have a misconception of what it is. I've done both. I've done counseling and coaching. And I had a lot of people that would come to me for coaching that really needed counseling. And counseling is going back, dealing with the root issue, putting it in its proper place so that you can move forward and be successful in your life. And then coaching takes you where you're at and helps you to reach the goals that you want to achieve. But the things that we go through in life are practice runs. They really are. They're things that allows us, God uses, we hear the saying all the time, he takes our mess and turns it into a message. He wants to get you through this so you can turn around and reciprocate that to a lost and dying world. People need help, and they need to know that overcoming is possible.
That's right. And you don't have to go through it alone. I want to keep,
Yes.
I want to keep stressing that. I can't even tell you how many times you do not have to go through this alone.
Yes.
There are other people that are there that can reach out, or there's just one trusted adult that can get you the resources and the help that you need. So you do not have to go through this alone.
Absolutely. The Bible says that out of the multitude of counselors, there's safety, there's wisdom. And so, counseling is a healthy thing. And I think the younger generation, at least I have seen over probably the last 15 years, people can say what they want about millennials. I love millennials.
Yeah.
And they get it. They are quick to say, you need to go have a session with your counselor. They get it. And so counseling is just one way of getting help. You being an educator, I'm certain that you have had students come to you in the past and they have these real life issues, but it's that trusted, safe place. And I love the fact that we don't have to carry it all. And God gave us accountability. He gave us people in our lives for a healthy reason. It's so exciting to know that we get to choose how we're going to address our own mental health, spirit, soul, and body. And with this being Mental Health Awareness Month, I'm super excited. Viewers, listen, the Tennessean is going to be doing an interview with my sister Samantha today. And we don't know when it's going to be published, but we will definitely share on social media. But they are doing something neat with Build Her a Bridge. And I just want to share this because it ties in to the mental health of young people.
Absolutely. So we at Build Her Bridge are doing self-care boxes. We had so many different businesses and organizations and nonprofits, from Planet Fitness, Great Clips, Downtown Franklin Rotary, 31, Jerry Feed Music. They have all donated to these boxes right here with our logo on it. And inside of these boxes, especially bath bombs. I mean, which teenager doesn't love bath bombs? Hand sanitizer, which is like unnecessary right now, and some lotion. We've got the coupons here. American Foundation of Suicide Prevention also donated. So these boxes are going to go to middle school, high school, and young adults that have been dealing with mental health issues, from anxiety, depression, suicide, to child and sexual abuse, human trafficking, child trafficking. Middle school, high school girls will be getting this box. I'm excited to give it to them. I'm delivering them on Monday, May 4th, and Tuesday, May 5th, to those different organizations. I've had people emailing me saying, I need a box for my daughter. Please send me a box. I've got guidance counselors right here in Middle Tennessee that will be receiving these boxes. West Tennessee guidance counselors will be receiving these boxes. So it's just necessary. I think young girls, who doesn't like receiving mail? I know I love receiving mail, especially knowing when it's something that I ordered. But to know that there's something coming in a box for you, that's specifically for you, and you're going to be able to use it, and you don't have to share it because it's going just for you. I think it's just great. And I'm just excited to be able to get it to these girls.
Oh my goodness. It is exciting because the fact of the matter is it ministers to their soul. And, for those of you that are maybe not familiar with the soul, it's your mind and your will and your emotions. And these are the areas that are under attack.
Yes. I say that, and there's also a journal and pen in here too. So again, when I was stressing about how you don't have to keep it in, you need to express and talk to someone, you can also write it down and journal. And so a lot of these middle school, high school girls that are going through some of these things, they're going to be able to use them for their physical psyche, because it's Planet Fitness, it's Great Clips, it's getting your hair done, it's building that confidence. Your mental psyche, writing things down. Your emotional psyche, writing things down in the journal. So it covers every single aspect. And that's why I love these boxes, because I wanted to make sure it covered physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Everything is all in that box, and you girls will be getting it. So
I love it. I love it. It's so exciting what the Lord is doing through Build Her a Bridge. It's a great ministry. And I have to encourage you guys again, please share this broadcast out. If you're watching on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook, we're going to figure out how to get it on Insta. We're going to figure it out. It's one of these young people. And I know, Samantha, you're good at Insta, so we'll figure out but this topic is just one of the many type of topics that we will be covering in Bridge Forward. Yeah. And we want to help you not only talk about this, because that's where it starts, is acknowledgement. We can't talk about it. It needs to be out of the darkness into the light, where things can start to heal and resources can be found, So Samantha, is there anything else you want to add to the broadcast today?
No, I just want to encourage you as a parent, as if you work with youth in any form, whether it's through ministry or entrepreneurship or nonprofit sector, that a lot of these young people now are going through so many things that you as a youth did not go through. A lot of times they are internalizing everything. They're not wanting to share. They are not too proud to share because they don't feel worth. They don't feel valued enough. And so we play a huge part. We all play a huge part in pouring life back into young people. And that is by dealing with their spiritual, mental, emotional, physical needs. And we have to meet them where they are. But we don't want them to stay there. We want them to continue to grow because we're growing them and raising them to be young men and women in the workforce. And so we don't want them to go through things alone. We want to be careful about what we say to them and what we're giving them, but we need to give them truth. And that's where our motto, real, raw, relatable, comes in, because you can't sugarcoat anything. It doesn't do anyone good to sugarcoat the truth. The truth is that no one should be touching you. The truth is that you are valued and you have worth, and no one, not a bullier, not an adult that's trying to overpower you, you should not be a victim of it.
That's right.
So I just want to encourage you, youth leaders and everything. We play a special part in pouring into these youth, and it's hard, but it's very rewarding because I love what I do.
I love what you do too as well. And I love the fact that the Lord is allowing us to partner and collaborate in inspiring those of you out there. So y'all make sure that you keep an eye out for the upcoming broadcast. Our first one will be on the first Friday of the month of June. We're officially launching in June, but you'll see tidbits. Yeah. Well, you'll see tidbits of information dribbled out. So look for those sparks and make sure that you get your young people involved in this. And we just want to be a service to y'all as far as encouragement, inspiration, and tools that you can use to literally change your perspective on how you look at the whole issue that, people are dealing with, is specifically tweens, teens, and early young adults, because the struggle is real. So Samantha,
real.
I am super excited about our upcoming broadcast.
Me too.
You guys catch us and make sure that you share this out. If you are watching this on Periscope, YouTube, or Facebook, please drop a comment. We'll go back and answer those questions as well. And we'll drop a few resources in there, a couple websites of places you can go to get more information on the topic of bullying. So we thank you guys so much. God bless. Have an amazing day.